Welcome back to Hey Unc. Pull up a chair and take a deep breath. No, seriously, take a deep breath with me right now. And let's just sit in this space for a minute. Lately, it feels like the volume of the world has been turned up to a deafening level. You check your phone and it's a wave of unrest. You turn on the news and it's a masterclass in uncertainty. Whether it's the political climate here in the States or the shifting sands of global events, there's a low frequency hum of anxiety that seems to be vibrating underneath everything we do. It's like trying to live on top of a literal earthquake. I've had so many conversations saying the same thing. I just feel shaky. It feels like I'm waiting for the next shoe to drop. Well, tonight we're not going to fix the world's problems. That's a tall order for a podcast. But we are going to talk about how to keep you from cracking under that pressure. We're diving into how to stay grounded when the ground itself feels unreliable. And maybe more importantly, we're talking about how to speak to the people we love when everyone's nerves are frayed to the breaking point. Because when the world gets loud, our circles need to be our sanctuary, not another battlefield. So this episode is called Anxiety in Uncertain Times, Staying Grounded When the World Feels Shaky. Strap in, grab your favorite beverage, and let's get into it. Fellas.
What's up?
What up?
What's going on?
Doing well.
So we have a return guest, our first return guest to the podcast. Dr. Brock Grace has joined us for this important conversation. Welcome back.
Thank you guys for having me back. It's an honor.
Absolutely. We really wanted to bring you into this conversation to give us some insights, not only from a professional standpoint and your experience with Give Grace counseling, but also, you're a dad, you're a husband.
Yes.
So navigating all of this as well.
Before we get into that, let's can we just give him a little love, and can you share with us exactly the things that you got going on right now from a professional standpoint?
Absolutely. So currently we're in the process of expanding, in the process of hiring 4 new therapists, just moved across the top floor of the building we at. So things are going well for us professionally. That's also a bad thing because, like Shannon said earlier, the world is dealing with a lot of anxiety and things like that, which keeps us in business. But you never want to see the world in the state that it's in. But there are some things that we can do to help with anxiety, Shannon, like you mentioned. And if we can practice actual breathing technique right now on air. So it's called the 4-7-8 technique. So what I want you guys to do is you're going to breathe in for 4 seconds. We're going to hold it for 7 and we're going to release for 8. And you do this for 3 cycles to kind of just bring the anxiety level down. So I'll count if you guys will go. So breathe in, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now release for 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What that does over time, it'll control your breathing. Because as you know, anxiety speeds up your heart rate. But does everybody know what anxiety is?
Probably not, yeah. Right?
I think we all have our own definition, but clinically speaking, I would say no. But if I had to just put it quickly, it's just the fear of the unknown, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's a great example.
Yeah. I think my version of anxiety is feeling like you're not accomplishing anything. Like you're just on a treadmill, spinning in the same place.
Not knowing what's coming next, not being able to control your own environment.
So anxiety is always a futuristic event. Hasn't happened yet. And usually we tell ourselves what we think is going to happen based on the negative outcomes of it. What if this doesn't happen? You always hear people say, well, what if it doesn't work out? Anxiety is your imagination. Nothing you're telling yourself has really happened yet. So I would ask you to now think about those bad situations and now flip it to think, what if it does work out? Because we can imagine winning $1 million and what we would do with that. But when things get heavy in the world, we always think it's going to be the worst case scenario. So we practice ways with anxiety to decrease it by thinking about what you can do that's going to be a positive outcome, which can be a daunting task for a lot of people to think, well, what if it all works out?
And that is an interesting way to look at it. Because even when we were starting the studio, So I can speak from experience. Our hesitations were always about, well, what if we lose this money? It was the initial concept was the excitement about, hey, let's go build something. But then when we started getting into it, it was always the, okay, well, how can we cut back? And how can we, how can we limit it so that we protect ourselves, not go all in and chase that positive? So that's an interesting way to look at it.
And as you did the podcast, did you do it scared or did the fear stop you from doing it though? Because there's a difference between fear and being afraid.
Yeah. I think the fear delayed us, and we even together collectively, we got into a little bit of analysis paralysis, right? Instead of just doing it, we were like, well, what if we did this? And what if we did that? And are we going to talk about that? Are we going to talk about this?
Correct.
But I think after we did that first episode, we realized we just got to be us. Because we recorded that first episode scared and we were holding back
Big time,
and it didn't feel right. It didn't feel like us. So we ended up throwing that first episode out and re-recording because we were like, this just is not working.
Yeah.
Because we were in that place of fear. We specifically, we like, man, our kids are going to listen to this. Can we really say this stuff? Can we really tell them how it was?
Yeah.
Right. But we had to move past that fear or you wouldn't have what you have right now.
So I would caution people to do things afraid and not fear. Fear stands for forget everything and run, meaning y'all delayed it, versus do it scared and then use that anxiety that you're feeling to now better prepare yourself. So whatever you guys, the think tank when y'all were having the discussions offline to think, how can we make this happen? That was your body producing a certain level of healthy anxiety to now, hey, Unc seasons and how it is now, to where it's clean, polished, and it's you guys on camera doing the things that you love doing.
So what you just said, healthy anxiety. I don't know that people have a real concept of what that is. So talk to us a little bit about what do you mean by healthy anxiety?
So anxiety in low amounts is healthy because it's going to push your brain to now think, prepare, to be focused, to now visualize the outcome of the situation. Unhealthy anxiety is going to stop you from even moving forward at all. So think about if you have to do a public speaking event, you might write your lines down, practice walking in the mirror, saying it. That's healthy because now when you get in front of it, you've already envisioned yourself and what the audience may look like and react to now be sharp and crisp. But an unhealthy level of anxiety will make you not even want to get out of bed, throwing up, vomiting, just body's not itself.
Yeah. Wow. So even if you can still be nervous about something as long as you're pushing forward.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's interesting.
I just in preparation for this, I was actually prepared for that part of it because I didn't take into account that there are levels to anxiety, and the healthy anxiety is also is what puts you in protection mode too. Makes you alert, makes you aware. You do know that there are unknowns, but mentally you're sort of prepared for them to deal with them, and you're open to the fact that, hey, this could happen, but what am I going to do in the event that it does? So yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because that part is overlooked in terms of anxiety because it's usually has just a negative connotation and there's nothing positive associated with anxiety.
Yeah. So I know here lately, Mark, we've been talking about anxiety quite a bit, and it was one of the reasons we wanted to get in this episode. So are there, what are the things that you've been experiencing with a lot of life changes over the last couple of years?
So for me, I'm glad you brought up the anxiety part. It's been tough dealing with the loss of my wife, lost just the changes in my job situation. Anxiety has creeped into me like never before here recently because of the uncertainty of things that I don't control and I don't like it. I have had some opportunity. I mean, I've really gone through what is a depression mode, not wanting to get up sometimes in the morning. I can be transparent on that. And then I just had to realize for me, it's about renewing my mind. I had to make sure, which is kind of what you're talking about, realizing who I am, what I can accomplish, and not be so afraid. Some things I've done, all I got to do is push enter I've been petrified to push enter on it for the reason of,
The reason that you told yourself?
the reason that I told myself for, like for fear of failure, like you were speaking about. But I'm failing because I won't push enter. You know what I mean? So it's so important to realize that. And that's just something that, I'm pushing enter today. Just do trust that.
Okay.
And this morning I was like, as we were preparing, I was like, man, you got to do better. You know what I mean? I've learned that I've always had my family to push me. I still do, but it's like, in this time, it's kind of like the man in the mirror. It's just me now, my family, but it's me, and I got to learn how to focus on me and what's going to make me better. And for years I used it. It wasn't an excuse, but it was my reality at the time that my family depended on me. Well, my kids grown. I don't really do that now. So it's like taking that next step. What about you? And I think that's important that we do. So I'm learning myself now. So this topic is, I love this,
So not knowing what the situation is, but you said you're scared to push enter. Failure is a way of learning. Because when we fail, that's when we learn the most. Because you learn what not to do in preparation to get to that next step.
Right. Okay. I know. Yeah. It didn't mean when I said that, I don't know. It just don't mean it's the craziest thing though. It's like I would literally hike myself up and then talk myself out of it for no apparent reason, and find a way to justify it. There was a time when I could justify it, like I would use the protection thing. Well, if this doesn't go right, oh my God, what is going to happen? But what if it goes right?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, saying that earlier, man, that was, because nobody ever think about that.
Yeah.
You don't.
If it works.
Right.
Yeah,
what
you
if it
always
works?
think about the bad.
Yeah.
You don't focus on the good.
That thought process is crazy. I mean, it's not like I'm oblivious to it. I just never apply it when it comes to something I'm not sure about.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you guys another way to remember that. So think about what if it doesn't go right? That's an automatic negative thought. So think about the analogy of like, if it's about to be hot outside, summertime, what would you do if you saw one ant crawling on your kitchen counter?
You done.
Why?
For the fear.
More coming?
Yeah.
The fear of what? It's going to go back and get some more.
Yeah.
So start challenging those negative thoughts when they pop in your mind. Write it down and now write the possibilities of what could happen out of this. And think the ant analogy is automatic negative thoughts.
So don't kill the ant?
Kill it. No, kill it. Yeah. Address it. Hey, I'm having this negative thought, but what could be some positive outcomes behind it? Because if you let it fester, it's going to go back and get more negative thoughts. And sooner or later, you got a house full of ants and you don't know what to do.
I see. I ain't did it first.
Yeah.
You brought that home. Yeah.
You brought that home. I like it.
I love it. Yeah. All right.
So I
B-Rock.
Yeah. And one of the things,
I'm sorry,
and even
Dr.
in
B-Rock.
Doctor.
Yeah.
I'm
Respect
Rock.
that.
You got to respect it. Yeah.
So one of the things that kind of struck me in the analogy you just used in your own life was you're not giving yourself any grace, right? You're being extremely hard on yourself. Brock, Dr. Grace, this is one of the things I wanted to ask you about. Your practice is named Give Grace.
Yes.
Right? So for listeners that feel like they're struggling to keep it together and are having those negative thoughts and negative emotions about themselves, what does it actually mean for someone to give themselves grace?
To set yourself up for a time that you can now pour back into yourself. One of the things I always ask people, who were you before you became a dad, a husband, a CEO? Who was Stuart, Shannon, Mark? Who are you guys? What did you like to do as just individuals? Before you became a dad, before you became unks, what did you all like to do just as guys?
You want the real?
Yeah, the real answer, right?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. For me,
Be honest.
It was all about chasing women.
Okay.
Flirtation. I love to flirt. I love talking to women. And it doesn't even have to go anywhere. That was just my thing. I love the game.
The female energy coming your way.
Yes.
Okay.
I thought he was answering first.
Yeah, I thought he was too. I'm about to say.
There are a reason to be your best friend.
So then how often do you allow yourself to do that?
No, I don't. Not anymore.
But is that okay to be at the grocery store? Oh, ma'am, you're beautiful. Oh, sir, you're handsome. And then just walk out.
Yeah. That would be fine with me, but I
Interesting.
don't do it.
Okay. Outside of that, but think of the other things you might have liked doing. That now as men, we just don't because we have all these other obligations of
Mhm.
take care of my wife, my children, the community. When did Shannon and Marcus Stewart just allow themselves to take care of them?
I
Right.
was actually, to dig deeper into that was like trying to really think, what did I enjoy doing?
Mhm.
I mean, what you're saying is true. We did that. It was sort of came natural. But you take that away,
Yeah.
then what was it?
Mhm.
Well, I know one of the things we all used to love to do and I don't know why we don't do it anymore, but high school football.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We used to go to games when
Yeah.
Kiera and them were playing, but
Yeah.
even after.
Right.
When was the last time we went to a game?
Right.
15 years ago?
I know.
10 years ago?
And the thing about it is, too, but that was a sign, and I think our producer and I talked about this offset a little bit earlier. We need a gravitation, something to pull us in.
Mhm.
Even though we enjoy it, but there's no stake in it. So,
Right.
the fact that his little brother's playing, like, ding, 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 and I got an excuse because I immediately said, well, what's the schedule? 'Cause
Mhm.
I want to get back to that.
Yeah.
Because
Why do you need an
enjoy
excuse
it.
to put your name on your calendar, though?
Say that again?
Why do you need an excuse to make time for yourself?
Well, it's like I was saying, in that regard, it was really about I love football, but I just didn't have a reason to go. So I didn't know nobody that was playing.
Okay.
So now that I have a rooting interest, it's forcing me back out there. We have since replaced that with golf.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now that's the thing now,
Right.
for sure. Making the time
Mhm.
is just becoming increasingly difficult as of late, anyway. Because we played not at all as a collective this year,
Not one
but
time.
and that's unheard of over the
We're in
past
April.
5-6 years. Yeah, we're in April.
And y'all
Yeah.
couldn't
Right.
find one day in the last
We
4
have
months.
not
Right.
found a single day in the last 4 months for the three of us to get together.
I would challenge each one of you all to put your own name on your calendar so that when you see it, make it as important as a doctor's appointment, dentist appointment, whatever, and don't break it.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to go do something that I enjoy doing with my guys. And I'll give you an example. Me and my guys go out to eat at least once a month. That we do something. And before we leave that event, we now look at each other's calendars and we schedule the next one. So we always have something positive to look forward to because remember, anxiety is something you imagine.
Mm-hmm.
So, interesting you brought that up. I'm learning how to do things on my own.
Okay.
In the sense of not having my wife. Again, we've been together a long time as a family, you know what I mean? And it's tough. It was tough for me to adjust to not, even though I can call my boys up, I know my wife gonna be with their wives. You know what I mean? And not having that for me and learning how to say, you know what? I'm gonna go to this just sit and hang out. I'm gonna learn how to do these things all over again. I'm gonna go somewhere by myself and flirt or speak to somebody. And that's been tough doing, but doing it a couple of times, to your point, it has made a difference and with me, but I still go through those phases where it's still kind of hard. You know what I mean?
So you've been hollering at folks?
I mean, I've been saying, hey, how you doing? You look nice.
Yeah.
Those types of things.
How's that feel?
Feels good, sir. So, yeah.
So
I get your point.
You know the question we used to have, you get the number?
I'm trying to get there, though, So,
Come on, bro. He put them green eyes on.
Yeah.
They give
You
you
in contact?
huh?
Yeah.
Say contact.
You out in the streets with your
Oh, my
contacts.
God. These okay. Anyway, try to.
I guess there's a reason why you don't tell us
Try
these things, right?
Listen.
Right.
Hanging out with
Sure.
Dr. Grace, try to participate over here. All right.
Oh, we ain't gonna talk about Dr. Grace back in the day.
No, sir.
Listen, we can.
We're gonna talk about that back in the day.
Yeah. He wasn't always doctor.
That's right.
He
Not
was
always
a Jedi
there.
too.
That's right.
He was a Jedi too.
I heard he was a real good Luke Skywalker.
Oh, he was.
To your Yoda.
That's a great analogy.
He was a very good Padawan. Yeah. But yeah, man, and I think with this conversation too, because one of the things you pointed out is we are still individuals, even outside of all our other responsibilities. And I know I can speak for me, and I think I can speak for them too. Even though our kids are grown now, it's still hard to break that.
Mhm.
Okay.
right?
Oh,
I
for
still
sure.
feel responsible
Oh my God, yes.
for my child, and I know they do
Yeah.
too. But you have younger kids. As you're dealing with this kind of just constant buzz of what's going on in the world, do you try and isolate the kids from what's happening to protect them? Do you find ways to discuss all of these kind of topics and what anxiety is with the kids? Kind of how do you approach parenting in this kind of uncertainty?
Great question. So I take an example from like my mother. She always had an open policy of communication. And so if there's something that they need to be exposed to, I try to expose it to them on the levels of an 8 and 10-year-old. Because sometimes they'll come home from school and say stuff that I'm like, ooh, I didn't know we were here yet. But somebody said in your class or school. So now we have the conversation about it. So me and Daniela sit down and talk to them and answer questions as truthfully as we can about things, but not too much to overload their little minds with things that they shouldn't be ready to process yet and handle because they know mommy and daddy have it.
Yeah.
And if you guys are still feeling that as adults, that just means you're good fathers. It's never going to be your job not to feel like you're supposed to protect the ones you brought into this world.
Yeah.
So I don't think that ever goes away to a sense because, you know, my father-in-law still wants to protect his daughter and she's 40-some years old. Just a good dude.
Yeah. Hell, I told Naya yesterday she was 3 years old 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like. She's about to turn 24.
That's not even dog years, bro. What you call that?
I tell you what, I love my kids, but I told them I need 5 minutes. Can I get 5 minutes of nothing?
Yeah.
I need absolutely nothing to go wrong for 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Whatever that means. They was just like, Dad, you just, whew, you put up with us.
How would you, what's the best way to put this? Advise someone, because for me, I'm sort of a political junkie.
Okay.
It is,
Be careful how much of that stuff you watch.
you have to.
Yeah.
You have to.
You have to. So I guess that's the start. But still, for someone who consumes an overwhelming amount, and I don't let it govern my life in terms of, you know, I go home and have to build a bunker in the ground and things of that nature, though I might need to, but
Yeah, it feels like that.
yeah,
don't
for real.
it? Yeah.
But yeah, what would you say to people who are conscious and consuming all this stuff and feel powerless to do anything about it?
One limited amount of time you spend watching the news outlets. I'm not saying who watches what, but how much of the information you're taking in.
Right.
Also, when you're taking it in. Are you starting your day off the first thing in the morning learning something terrible about a war or politician or something? That sets the tone for your day.
Gotcha.
Do it when you now have enough time. And I wouldn't do it before you go to bed either.
Right.
Maybe during the middle of the day, we still have time to kind of focus on other things. So it's not the first thing setting the tone for your day or the last thing at night before you go to bed. And then your body's dealing with whatever, you know, senator or presidential, whoever did what. Now,
Some bullshit.
yeah, some bullshit. Now,
Yeah.
Stu is taking that on and probably bringing it right back to his house,
Right.
not knowing it.
I used to take on Orange Julius at night. Piss me off.
Take on what?
Orange Julius. That's what I call.
Oh,
Yeah, I called you.
Yeah. You know,
I had no idea what you
Yeah.
was talking about.
Orange Julius. So
I got you.
yeah, to your point, I know our conscious mind continuously takes over our, like when we sleep at night, you know what I mean? And we consume that stuff. And to your point, I would literally go to bed at night and then I'll wake up, look for my phone, what has happened, you know what I mean? And that, yeah, learning how to cut that off has been
But
something
you know what I
had.
wish I'd have learned earlier though, is that you can ascend to be the president of the United States and make more money in a role that you're not supposed to make money in. To make more money than humanly possible in such a short period of time.
Well, and that's a sign of not having a moral center, right?
Exactly.
There's a reason there's a statement behind every great fortune is a great crime, right? There's a reason for that.
True that.
If you don't have a moral compass, it's easy to make money because you'll just cheat people. You'll cheat the system, you'll cheat people, and you won't care. None of us are going to do that, right? So that's the difference. He does not care. And the people that support him do not care about what happens to other people. They have a lack of empathy. And that's why we are in the place that we are.
But the craziest thing is happening to them and they still,
Of course.
vote for that bull.
And that's happened throughout our history.
It's part of our history.
People supporting politicians, people supporting the church, even though in the vast majority of our history, the church has been one of the most negative institutions in the world. They have enslaved and impoverished and controlled people more than any other institution. Now, people are going to get pissed off when they hear that. Historically, it's the truth.
It is.
Right? It is the absolute truth.
He didn't say all.
I didn't
Yeah,
say
didn't
all.
say all.
Let's be clear.
I didn't say all. And I get it that institution can be a source of inspiration, peace, comfort, and I would never want to take that away from anyone. But the institution of religion has consistently been used to oppress people throughout our history, and it's still doing it. How in the hell do we have billionaire preachers?
Things that make you go,
that makes no sense.
Yeah, when you
But
say
we got
billionaire,
homeless people.
right? I get that.
In Winston-Salem, North Carolina, where we're from, there's literally, and I did this experiment, you cannot drive for more than a minute in Winston without passing a church. I don't care where you are. You cannot. But Winston has homeless people. How?
Yeah, I get it.
I'm not talking about poor people.
Okay.
Right? That's a whole different thing.
Mm-hmm.
How are there homeless people if you have a church on every corner? I don't get it. But anyway, that's not what this topic is about. We'll have to have
a whole conversation on that because
I was about to say something, and then this is what I learned this week. And this is not, we're not technically debating, but you can get off center because I was about to address that. And to your point, it's not the time to do it. But when you're having a conversation, you have to stay on your points. You can't let people move you off your square.
Correct.
And great points, but we are about to get moved off the square.
We are.
Is that what you?
I digress.
Yes, in that case, because I'm still suffering from anxiety.
Yeah,
for different reasons. No, I actually am in pretty good headspace.
So now with that though, right, and in your practice, you deal with a wide range of different demographics, right? So is there a difference between, or can you distinguish between someone's personal anxiety and the kind of collective anxiety that's going around and kind of things that are impacting them from the outside versus the inside? Is there a difference?
Only after talking to people for a while. So like collective, we all dealt with COVID when it first came out, the anxiety of like not knowing what this, virus is going to do. If we go outside, are we going to die? We talk to a family member. But then we think of like just personal anxiety. One of the things I try to do is figure out if they're now dealing with the war, the president, or if it's now something job related. Because, job is personal versus political climate is like worldview. And I try to help them distinguish where's this anxiety coming from. What's the main source of it? And after talking to them for a couple of sessions, it unveils itself. Well, like you said, I've been watching a lot of politicians, news. Mark and I talked about hitting enter as a personal. Yours is more worldview. So then I try to help them navigate. Can we pause on how much you limit versus can we now go forward and hit enter to go to that next level that you're dealing with?
Yeah.
And I want to piggyback off something you said earlier. When you said also, you kept saying I. If you spell the word anxiety, I is in the middle. What happens when you take yourself out of it? Meaning reach out to those natural supports to now strengthen as a community to not deal with the situation by yourself.
I love to get your thoughts on that because you always stress how important the tribe is.
Absolutely.
So how does that hit with you?
Well, I mean, first I thought he was going to tell me it's going to spell another word.
I was waiting on that too. That's what I was waiting on too. I was like, oh my God, I can't wait to see what this word is going to be. I was doing the same thing, said.
Like, I'm trying to spell it. But no, but that's perfect. It's pitch perfect actually, because, in hindsight, I will fall back to my guys. And it may not come out as I'm having an issue. I may bring it up just as a question. Throw it out there and just see what comes of it. And then sometimes it's something that one of you guys may say that I can kind of grab and make use of that and not sit and dwell on. Because I can't help feeling like I need to understand what's going on globally, how this going to impact us, maybe from a business standpoint, and then ultimately, how is that going to hit personally? So I'm bringing it from here to see how it's going to get to us here. And I guess I'm looking for where do I need to pivot and put up protections to make sure that I can shield us from the things that are going on outside of what we can control.
Is it to shield them or you want to educate them?
I'll be honest, it's probably more shielding, trying to prevent them from having to deal with something that they may not even see coming.
I would say educate them so you all can try to work together to prevent whatever's coming your way.
But that's why it's so important you said the I, because to your point, that's what I'm doing. So,
versus we as a whole.
exactly.
And Shannon can attest to this. I'll call you random and be like, hey, I just want to run something by you. I know he might have done it in life or experienced or have more knowledge on it. Hey, Shannon, Jana, can I holler at y'all for 10 minutes? Cool. It gives me a different perspective on it. I'm not alone in this because Shannon has already been through it, done it. Maybe I can't do it the same way he did it, but I can take something from his experiences and now make mine a little bit smoother.
Right.
Yeah.
Yoda?
Yeah,
That's what
Yoda.
Yoda's for?
That's what I'm here for.
You blessed to be able to do that, my
I
brother.
am, and
You are
I
blessed, so.
appreciate that.
Mhm.
Gotta take care of my babies. As we kind of switch gears a little bit, Brock, one other point I wanted to get to is on your site, one of the things, and in your profile you talk about is moving from survival mode to kind of stability, right? And when you're having these conversations with your tribe and with your family, how do you keep that in a positive light versus it being just a reaction or feeling like you're lashing out at your family when it may not even be them that's the issue?
Well, so one of the things that Danielle and I are able to do, if she notices I'm just having a bad day or they got me, she may suggest that I go do something that's just for me. Because you all mentioned just this protective, I got to take on this whole world mentality, right? But what would happen if Gina said, Shannon, you and the boys need to go golfing today? She knows something going on here. She may not know what it is. Shannon, you need to call Mark and Stu. Y'all need to go get 18 holes in.
Yeah.
That now gives you the outlet, right? So one of the things we've been able to do is kind of call each other out on it of like, baby, I got the kids tonight. You seem like something's going on. And she does a good job with that for me. So therefore I don't bring a lot of it home. Also, if ever there are times where she gives me something that I might need to reflect on, I now need to sit with that for a second. Be like, well, why is she seeing this in me?
Okay.
And let's be honest, we make mistakes with our kids. Apologize to them. If you lashed out one day because you had a bad day at work and you said something to Naya the wrong way, baby, I'm sorry. That's not how I meant that. I'm dealing with this. It came out on you. I apologize.
So be willing to admit when those things happen and have that conversation.
Yeah.
Not just because I said so.
Yeah.
It's funny, even though we're on that topic, I just want you to know how fortunate and how blessed you all are, you and Danielle, to be able to have that opportunity to share, that with each other and recognize, that, hey, my husband needs this or my wife needs this. That's so important, in a marriage. That's all.
It took some time to get there now, because it made you think,
of course you do.
I know what I'm doing, whatever.
Right.
But it's like, well, maybe she might be right. I married her for a reason. So, yeah.
And that's an important thing to remember. We talked about in one of the episodes this season about how you had those phases in your marriage. And, I know for me, it was when you hit that 7-year mark. It's just, that's a tough year in marriages. Remembering I married this person for a reason when you're going through those tough times. And that could be a great help to kind of take a step back, right? Before you escalate a situation. Now, getting back into these political conversations, when you have family members that are supporting the orange Cheeto, for an example.
Orange Cheeto, I like that one. Okay. I'll add that one.
Okay, that one to your list.
What are, and I know, and I'll speak personally, I think you said this on air too. With people that are supporting some of this foolishness that's going on, I just can't deal with them. There's no level of communicating with them, trying to convince them, trying to be reasonable. I'm just cutting them off, and I'm not dealing with them. Is that a valid strategy?
No, that's a boundary you're putting up. You're saying I don't want to have this type of interaction in my life. This is what works best for Shannon. Maybe this season, while you're supporting whatever political view, I'm not rocking with you. I've been at a family member's house, and I'm saying whole family, me, Danielle's side, all families included, where they were having a debate on something. This person was supporting Trump's views. I was not in the conversation. He approached me. I got him left. I said, what makes you think I want to talk about this? I didn't want to be in it from the beginning. And I left their home. Like, that's my stance. Hey, we can talk about anything else. I'm not rocking with you on your views. You want to talk about football, love, marriage? I don't support you. I'm leaving. And he took offense to it, but that's not what I want to deal with that day.
Yeah.
See, for me, and I understand it because I feel that part, and I think it's a season of that.
Mhm.
You use the word season.
Yeah.
Where's the grace in that? You get what I'm saying? Like at some point, Orange Julius is gonna get the hell out of the way, and all he's there for is to cause division amongst people. I mean, we're suffering from this for a long time, and I understand people have their views and so forth, but where do you take a stance and say, okay, you know, I at one time had love for this person, but I can't allow, well, I don't know how to say it. It's like how I can't allow my political views to overshadow
The relationship.
the relationship. You know what I mean? Like, where is that? Is there a boundary for that? Because I agree, at some point, I got to step away because I can't deal with you now. But when do I say, man, I miss my cousin, or man, I miss my uncle? You know what I mean? Where is that?
So for me, it's, am I in the headspace to have a conversation about politics? If so, then maybe we may be able to chop it up. I can hear your views, say mine, cool. But if that's all you want to talk about every time I see you,
Of course. Then we ain't.
we ain't.
I feel you on that.
For this season, me and Mark may not be talking to each
Right.
other because I still love him. Hope he does well. But if every time you come to me, oh, did you?
Right.
Nah, man, I didn't. I don't want to talk about that right now.
Right.
Because it's a heavy topic that makes people feel a certain way, no matter what side you support.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's going to lead that conversation with hurt feelings, and now you got to patch it up at the family cookout.
Right. See, I'm petty.
Okay.
And I mean, when I'm petty, I want to be, I kind of had an attitude like, I told you so. Now your butt going through what everybody, how do you support? You know what I'm saying?
Some of that is what needs to happen, though.
Yeah.
Right? It's not going to always be.
People have to learn.
Yeah. You learn from that mistake or that failure and keep moving forward.
Yeah. All right. So now we're going to transition. It's time for my boy Stu's question of the week. What you got for us?
All right, so let me just touch bases on this real quick. So this came up in a conversation I was having a couple of weeks ago with my wife. Well, it wasn't a conversation. She said something that sparked the thought for the question. So how long does it take, or how long should it take, or is there a time frame for somebody to allow a childhood trauma to still impact them now?
There's no time.
Some 20,
Yeah.
30, 40 years later.
There's no time
Yeah.
limit on it. I get people who are in their 50s still dealing with stuff that happened to them when
Yeah.
they're 8, 9 years old. Because it depends on when they were ready to now address it.
Right.
And maybe what brought that childhood trauma back up in their lives. I wouldn't say you can get over it in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, because what if them first 10 years of life, they had to suppress it and just act like they're okay before they were really to acknowledge the situation that they went through.
But I guess, and this is not even like a personal situation. It's just dealing with multiple people, period. I mean, like people continuously use that. So I hear you, but at 50, why do I need to deal with something you haven't addressed, 30, 40 years ago?
Now, I'm not saying you should. I would recommend them to get help. Like, if you
Gotcha.
know it's still bothering them at age 50, 60, 40, whatever, man, who have you sought to talk to kind of work through whatever his or her issue is? But if they haven't dealt with it, it's always going to be there. And let's be honest, we all deal with stuff from our childhoods, right?
Mhm.
Have you ever bought your kid something because you didn't have it as a kid?
Yeah, I'm sure I have.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I've done
You
a
still
lot of
healing that
stuff for
inner
my
childhood.
kids.
Right.
But I guess you look at that a little differently because that was sort of the mission in life, was to try to give them more, make life better for them than it was for you. Not to say I didn't have a good life coming up, but you still wanted to do better, and that was just the goal. And I never looked at it as like a trauma,
Not trauma, but you're still
but
healing
it's
some of the
still something
childhood related.
I can see what you're saying in that regard.
Yeah, my kids have a trampoline now. They didn't need it at 2 and 3 years old. I never had one. That was what I wanted. Y'all are getting one.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was healing my inner childhood.
Gotcha.
And that's
Okay.
just that's the positive side.
That's the
But I was
positive
going to
side,
say,
right.
now that
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
that's a good thing in that regard. But it's obviously I'm looking at from, you got that's obviously these ain't my only friends. I got a lot of friends that I deal with, and I'm still gotta. Man, you still hanging on to that?
I think it's a real thing though for people. If they've never really addressed it.
Yeah.
And if they don't address it, they don't know how to handle it. You know what I mean? And it's like, and if I'm familiar with that and I understand that, I think it's important the person on the other side of that has to understand that too. Like, it's like trigger words. Like, my wife's not here, but my wife went through some things. And when she went through some mental abuse things, physical, all that stuff, there would be words that I could use on our early marriage. And I would be like, why you got your head down? We're just disagreeing. And she began to share with me what that was about. And I was like, wait a minute. No, we're not doing that. I am not there, And I'm like, okay, one, I can't use those words anymore.
Right.
Two, don't you ever do that to me, because I am not that person. So until we started addressing that issue and talking about it, I couldn't do my part, because if I had stayed who I was, who knows? You know what I'm saying? So I just think it's important that we always, if we understand what that person's dealing with, yes, they need to get help, but I think it's our role too to make sure we don't enhance that, make that worse. You know what I mean? That childhood trauma, because everybody just don't get over it the way, like we do.
And we talked about this in the Daddy Issues episode last season, how our experiences with our fathers have shaped who we are as dads today. But I do think there's also, especially with the younger generations now and the younger parents that I've seen, this whole manifestation of soft parenting and them wanting to be their kid's best friend. That's not helping your child, right? And I think they're not dealing with some of the negative things that happened in their childhood where they may have felt isolated, they may have felt alone, and their parents weren't there in the way they thought they should be. But it is having a ongoing negative impact on them. But for a lot of people, to your point, they're not ready to have that conversation. They're like, no, this is my kid. This is the way I'm going to do it. Well, great. Now, when your kid goes off and start hitting teachers because you didn't institute any discipline or home training, well, then this is what you're going to get. So there can be positive impacts of dealing with that childhood trauma even later in life. But I think not dealing with some of it, or even in that example, they're dealing with it.
Mhm.
They're just not dealing with it in a positive way, right? They're taking it in a direction that it is not going to be as beneficial for their child.
But how do they know that? I mean, you know what I mean? Like
That
before they're dealing with it, they dealing the best way they know how.
They need grace.
That's right.
Yeah, they need to go talk to somebody.
They need grace.
But I think those things manifest. You see your kid acting out.
Right.
You see how your kid does something, misbehaves in public and all of it. You know that. Now, there's a lot of things that, and I think Mike talked about this, right? The way we were raised, yeah, we don't want to pass some of those parenting techniques forward, right? Your first inclination should be to smack your kid upside the head. You shouldn't be doing that. Right. So, yeah, I think you need to, and maybe, Brock, this is where you have to look at your overall community too and what's around you to kind of see what is working or what happened. So, as you're dealing with all of this stuff, how much does being active in the community matter?
Very much so. So yesterday, Zoe and Skylar were with grandma this weekend. She wanted to take them to go volunteer at like a community homeless shelter. We now taught them the benefits of doing that, right? We want to expose them to different things, or if they're around you guys, they're getting a lot from each other that we may not be doing as parents or be able to provide for them, but at least they grow up and have that totality man side of Uncle Stu taught me something, Uncle Shannon taught me this, Uncle Mark taught me this. Now you're a better individual. Maybe daddy couldn't teach you that, but you got it from somebody who could to make you a better individual in life. And that's kind of what we want for us. And I know as they get older, they may not want to talk to us even more, but let's say they call one of your daughters. Cool. I know they were raised in solid homes, so they're still getting great information that they don't want to hear from me.
Yeah. That is so funny because I can't imagine living in a world where I didn't have my cousins.
Yeah.
I don't, and I've met people especially when I was in the military, that they might have one cousin or they don't have any cousins that they talk to. I'm like, dude, how do you live?
But it's a reality.
It's a reality.
Yeah,
Not
that's
our
crazy.
reality, but it's a reality for a lot of people that don't. I don't talk to my cousin anymore. It's like, well,
My cousins are like brothers.
Right.
That's crazy.
I can't even imagine that world.
But it's a real thing.
It is. It is.
2 of them I talked to this week. We talk all the time. I just can't imagine not. That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, we have a WhatsApp group. It's just the cousins. And we reach out, and you may not even be talking about anything, but every once in a while, we'll reach out. Hey, how's
Just to
everybody
check in,
doing?
yeah.
What's going on? Yeah. Or hey, the kids are gonna go do this weekend. Anybody that's available, bring the kids. You have to have that kind of community interaction. And for those that don't, I challenge you to find it. There's resources out there to get involved with. As much as we may not like people sometimes, and God knows I don't a lot of times, but you need that community connection.
Yeah.
So, all right. So as we wind down the episode, I'm gonna turn it over to my boy. What are your words of wisdom this week?
I kind of hit them a lot, hit them all today, but I will share. Again, speaking today, it's important that we renew our minds, stay focused on what truly matters, and continue to grow, and don't allow that negative environment to be within you. You know what I mean? So stay consistent and keep negative things out of you. I think that's important. So renewing your mind is the way to go constantly.
How do you renew your mind?
How do I renew my mind? I started thinking about the things that matter to me.
Aside from the stuff I taught you.
I forgot who I was talking to. I knew this was going to go left. We'll talk about it later. I got so many words I want to use right now. But anyway, it's important to make sure you renew your mind. Leave it at that. Good one. Good one.
So Brock, we cannot let you leave without at least touching on from your episode last season when we got into relationships and managing relationships, because there was a lot of feedback in that episode, right? And
one of our best episodes.
Yeah,
actually.
it sparked a lot of great conversation. So as we're looking at dealing with all of this and dealing with in the terms of anxiety and uncertainty in life and all these things, that's going to inevitably creep into your marriage in one way or another, right? Or in your relationship. It doesn't even have to be a marriage. What are some of the things you counsel people on how to deal with that, or how to protect your family and your household, to not let those things creep in?
So for me personally, I make sure that the 3 people in my household are happy at the end of the night. Danielle, Zoe, Skylar. If they're good, usually life is going well for me. Then we start talking about outside family members, right? Because even though you may love somebody, you may not always line up with their opinions.
Oh, yeah.
Let's be honest. You were there when I pissed the whole family off when I decided to elope and only Shannon and Gina got invited. I was doing what's best for us at that time period. Everybody else had to grow to understand that's how we moved. So I teach couples what's important for the people in that door that you shut and lock at the end of the night. Are they happy? Start there. Then let that grace kind of overflow into your bigger communities, the people you work with, church members, whoever, to now take care of them. But always focus on you first. Kind of like when you're on an airplane. They say if it's going down, put your mask on first before you reach over to assist somebody else. I know it sounds selfish, but that's you taking care of you before taking away from resources from your household.
Yeah. That was a hard lesson for me to learn. And I had to learn it, but it was a hard lesson to learn.
I'm asking, when you say take care of you meaning you, Danielle, and your girl.
Absolutely.
That's as in a one unit,
Yes.
right? Okay. I just want to make sure that's clarified because I agree with that.
And so one of the things that came up in that previous episode that we want to touch on too, just briefly. And you know
No,
where
go-
I'm
go
going.
for it.
You know where I'm going.
Well, I got to be briefly, but okay.
Well, we're not going to harp on
All
it.
right.
People can go back and watch the previous episode. But in the relationship with your wife or partner, how do you keep things fresh, especially over time, right? Because I think a lot of people, and I think people of our age too, we went through our kids were all the focus. Our kids are grown. They're no longer the focus, at least not the day-to-day focus, right? So that distraction is gone. We're a little bit later in our careers. So maybe you're not hustling 60 hours a week, right? Trying to build a career anymore. So now that distraction's gone. Now the two of y'all sitting in this house together. How do you learn each other again?
So we have difficult conversations often, right? Meaning if something comes up that I may not understand and she doesn't, we'll sit down and talk about it. Now, am I always right or her? No. But at least I know how she's changing as we are going on 16 years of marriage to know she's not the same girl I married when we were 25 and 27. We're different in our 40s. Right now, our focal point is getting the kids to the next level. But we still plan things without the kids all the time. Like we took them on vacation a couple months ago. They know the next one. They're not going. And I preach to my kids from 1 year old up until now, mommy and daddy need time alone to continue to be in love with each other. And I tell them one day you're going to leave me. But at the end of the day, she's always going to be here. And parents sometimes feel like that's harsh to kind of drop their kids off with somebody. But if you're only focused on the kids, what happens when they leave?
Yeah.
Now there's no focal point
It's a
of
big vacuum.
it's a big, they're empty nesters is what they call them. They don't know what to do with themselves. Versus, no, I've been preparing for this for 18 years. They're gone. Hey, Danielle, me and you can walk around the house free as we want to now and do whatever we want to.
Bucket naked.
Right. And enjoy each other. So I would ask you
You
to
know,
just,
that's ideal living for you.
Ideal living.
but to continue to change with your partner, because you're not the same Shannon you were when you married Gina how many years ago. She's not the same Gina.
So it's evolving.
Evolve with your partner.
So important to do.
And don't wait until those distractions are gone to try and recover that.
Yeah, that's love is an action word. You got to keep pouring into it throughout the course of the marriage or the relationship.
Yeah,
I like how you said that too, having that hard conversation. You know, you got to have that conversation because when you both grow, you know, okay, where are you at now? Where am I at now? You know, and we got. It's important to do.
All right. Well, we're going to continue this conversation. Dr. Brock Grace of Give Grace Counseling, thank you for joining us.
Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you for the conversation.
Can you share where you located and for those in that area that might need that?
Located at 1400 Old Mill Circle, which is right across from the post office, Winston-Salem, North Carolina, Suite A and C. Phone number 336-893-7742.
And what all the services that are available?
Offer individual, marriage, family, premarital counseling, grief. I'm not the only one who provides counseling there, so it's a lot that we offer. And the website is www.givegracecounseling.com. If anybody wants to look, you can click on Meet the Team and see my bio as well as everybody I work with to kind of get a better understanding of what everybody does within her practices.
That's awesome. Yeah. I would encourage any of our listeners that are struggling in this day and age, get help if you need it, right? And whatever that help looks like for you, whether that's going to your family or going to your church or seeking out professional counseling, please take care of yourself and take time to focus on you. Because if you're good, then you can help others be good. If you're not in a good place, you're not going to be able to effectively help anyone. So with that, again, Brock, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate you,
Appreciate you, my brother.
I'm sure we're going to have you back again in this changing, crazy world. And yeah, we'll get you to talk about politics next time you're here.
Make sure you had a outfit to wear too.
Well, y'all got to tell me, y'all dressed it like I didn't get the memo.
We got to coordinate.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. All right. So thanks for joining us. We appreciate you. As always, reach out on our social media site on Instagram, Hey on Podcast, also on YouTube and TikTok. We enjoy the conversation. You can also hit us up on our personal pages. That'll be in our bios. So let's continue the conversation. And until next time, peace.